Birds were chirping, leaves were falling, air was breezy cold, and the sun was still hiding behind the clouds, just like wine inside her warm comforter. She was sleeping peacefully. A sweet, innocent 20-year-old girl, despite being born and growing in a mafia family, she got the treatment of a princess. Unlike other mafia parents, she lived her life as she wanted and deserved. Her life was smooth until the devil eyes caught her once. She was the most adorable girl, yet most adorable to his eyes, and he wanted her. She became the obsession of the mafia king, K.TH. It was shocking for everyone to ask her hand for the marriage. But Wine was different. She deserves respect, and marriage was the solution. Unable to say no to the Mafia King, her parents had to agree with his decision. They didn't want to put Wyan's life in danger, but denying him was the same condition. "I don't want to marry you." She got the courage to say maybe he would understand, but with whom she was expecting. His presence, his eyes, and the way he talked was uncomfortable for her. He was the devil, and she scared of him to the core. Everything about him was so unappealing. "I have a bad habit. If I like something, then I get it at any cost, and you are the obsession of me. So how can I?" His fingers were brushing gently on her cheeks, unlike his warningful voice. Already 2 years have passed since he announced her as his fiancée. He wanted to get married soon, but he waited only for her to get used to him and comfortable. But nothing changed. She scared him more as time was passing. Now sun was peeking through the curtains, and her eyes flickered in annoyance. Rubbing her eyes with her fist gently, she got up, and a big smile appeared on her lips. There were so many luxurious gifts were placed in front of her. Her favorite chocolates, flowers, bags, jewelry, clothes to the shoes. Every wanted things were available there. "Dad, I love you," she giggled, checking every single thing. Wine was indeed a princess and a spoiled child since birth. She took the floral knee-length dress and made it way to the bathroom. Completing her morning routine, she got dressed, did makeup, wore a few accessories with a pair of her comfortable sneakers. Coming out of the bedroom, she instantly bumped into the familiar figure. Her heartbeats stopped, her nose filled with his fragrance, and his rough hands were holding her delicately. When did he return? She thought as he was out for the mission for a week. The same day, she shifted to his mansion with her parents for the sake of her so-called safety. He wanted his queen to be protected. Her eyes met with his dark orbs for a few seconds. She looked away, and her palms pushed his rough chest to free herself. "I missed you." He hugged her, ignoring the fact she was wiggling. He didn't know what respect, comfort, and consent mean. "Leave me." She was uncomfortable the way his head was digging in her neck. His lips touching her neck skin not in an appropriate way. Few minutes of torture, he stepped back, but his hold around her arms were still firm. She blinked her moist eyes, feeling his gaze all over her body. "My choice suits you well." She was surprised and regretful, but it was too late. He smirked, reading her expressions like an open book, and placed a soft kiss on her forehead. "Now get used to it. After all, next month we are getting married." He noticed tears in her eyes, and he loosened his grasp around her. She ran away, and it made him furious. Giving her 2 years was not enough already. "Run as much as you can, but at the end, you will be in my arms and my life." His lips twitched into a devilish smirk. He slid his right hand into his pants pocket and joined everyone at the dining area. His eyes were stealing glances from her during the discussion of his business with his father and Mr. Pune, her father. Avoiding him, she had her breakfast and signaled Hazel, his sister, to drop her. "I'm waiting for you outside." She couldn't argue back and grabbed her essential things. Moving out of the mansion, she saw him waiting and sat inside the car silently. Ride was awkwardly silent, her gaze glued outside, but his turning to her from time to time. "Is outside view better than inside?" Yes. How long are you planning to run away from me? As long as you are tired of me. She felt his hold on her hand and unwillingly looked at him. This is not going to happen. You have to tolerate me your whole life. He kissed her hand before intertwining his fingers with her. Why don't you? Not again. Not again with your bullshit. The car stopped right away. He brought her closer to him, holding her arms. You have no idea what can I do with you talking with me in that tone. Don't take advantage of my good side, or else consequences won't be good. His eyes piercing her soul and tears welled up in her eyes. He opened the door. She immediately walked away to the campus, wiping her tears, and saw Subin, her friend, was coming towards her. Hey Wayan. Hi Subin, are you okay? He noticed her red eyes, but she shook her head. I'm perfectly fine, Subin. Okay, well, nervousness was evident on his face. Is something wrong? I want to say something to you. I'm all ears. Actually, we have known each other for years and shared a good friendship, but now I want to update our relationship. She stayed confused yet curious. Will you be my girlfriend, Wayan? Her eyes widened. Everyone's attention also turned towards them. Will you give me a chance? Subin, Suddenly, a hard punch landed on Subin's face. She gasped, seeing Taeyang, who was punching the poor soul with full rage that his veins were popping out. Taeyang, please stop. She tried to stop him, but with whom she was pleading. Everyone was looking at the scenario with a different mindset, but no one had the courage to come in between. How dare you propose to my fiancé? Subin was surprised, so the other students. Please let him go, Taeyang. She hugged his right hand, and due to it, he looked at her with burning gaze. He will die. Her tears triggered him even more. He took her hand and dragged her outside the campus. If she didn't forget her assignment inside his car, then he wouldn't come to the campus and make a scene. Leave me. He threw her inside the car and drove somewhere. The whole ride was silent, and the car's speed was enough to understand how furious he was. Taking her inside the penthouse in a bridal style, Taeyang threw her on the living hall couch. He caught her wrist and pinned it on the couch. He was almost hovering over her. What are you doing? Tell me one thing, Wayan. Don't your friend know you are already engaged? He knew with whom Wayan was friend with. After all, he was a mafia, and her safety was his priority. Being friend with guys was not his problem, and he also knew Wayan knew her limit, but him proposing to her was the last straw of his patience. No. Why? Because it was not that important. He had a look of disbelief, and his hold around her wrist tightened gradually. You didn't find it important to tell about me or about us. Are you serious? His dangerous voice forced her to close her eyes. Oh, now I get it. You are also like other girls who want every other guy attention, right? Opening her eyes, she gave him a hurtful gaze. You are crossing your limits. Am I? Okay. And the very next moment, his lips sealed her lips abruptly. Her eyes were wide in an utmost size, body turned numb, feeling his lips moving against her in a most sinful way. On the other hand, he was enjoying the kiss. Just like her lips were addictive too. A lunar tear left from her eyes. She finally came back into her senses and pushed him, but he didn't move and kept torturing her lips until she got out of breath. He finally moved away, but soon his face turned to the left side with a jerk. No one even dared to raise a voice against him, and she slapped him. He closed his eyes to curb the fire which was burning inside him. Her body trembled to his harsh growl. A guard immediately came inside, not forgetting to bow down. Yes, King, take her to the mansion safely. She immediately walked out while crying. He sat on the couch with ball fist. If she stayed more than a second, he would done something he shouldn't. It was 2 a.m. in the morning. Taeyang was still at his penthouse, and his legs were dipped into the pool water and eyes were admiring the stars. How long are you going to stay here? Jimin sat beside him, breaking the chain of Taeyang's thoughts, but still there was silence from his side. Well, nice idea to cool yourself down. Taeyang dug his face in his palm and sighed. What happened, man? How long I have to wait for her? Vine really screwed your heart. I don't love her. If you don't love her, then why are you waiting for 2 years? Why you always make sure she's alright? Care about her and her safety. Why you are behind her for a long time when you can get any other girl, even better? You are not Kim Taeyang, I know for years. You changed, but only for her. Admit Taeyang, you are in love with her now. You must be obsessed with her, but your feelings, your love for her is above than anything, or else she would already under you long ago. I know you tried your best to come with your soft side, but try hard to gain her trust. Make her realize you are in love with her, and with you, she can live happily her whole life instead of any other man. Makes her feel special. She's special for me, but you have to prove with your actions. You waited for 2 years, so give this relationship more time for good progress. And if she is willing to be with you, then without any further, marry her. Jimin patted his back and hoping for good change. A week passed. Taeyang was trying to figure out his actual feelings, and he was sure the phase of his obsession was gone long ago, and now he was deeply in love with her, and this was the most beautiful feeling. I'm really sorry. I shouldn't have kissed you that day. Wayne was stunned. He never ever apologized to her for his actions before. Is he drunk or hit his head? I promise I won't do anything without your consent. Another shock for the poor heart. She was still processing what just happened to him. From that day, she had gradually seen changes in him. The aggressive, ruthless, rude Taeyang was trying his best to make her feel comfortable around him. Hazel dropped and picked wine from the college. Marriage was postponed. He didn't enter her room whenever he wanted and kept a proper distance with her. His sort of uncomfortable gaze turning soft for her, it was honestly so intimidating that she looked away shyly. He sometimes teased her, a healthy teasing without touching or scaring her. His actions were speaking loud, noticeable for everyone, and he was appreciated for good changes. One evening, he came back early with her favorite things like usual and heard loud voice of Wine and Hazel. What happened? He was concerned, but every emotion turned into jealousy. Both of them were screaming, looking at famous K-pop idol Jeon Jungkook. His new CK campaign was displayed on the screen. His body. Damn, he is so hot. His tongue pressed against his cheek. It was definitely not an impressive scene, and finally walked in front of them. I bought it for you. He placed the donut box on the table with a flower bouquet and moved away. The girls were shocked. He didn't react because once a Jungkook picture was behind, Wyan's phone case was thrown inside the dustbin along with her mobile. The next day, Wyan walking through the corridor of the mansion, her thoughts were occupied by Taeyang, and why not, when he was trying his best to make her feel most special and loved. I shouldn't think about him all the time. She shook her head when she caught most unexpected person inside the gym. Taeyang was doing push-ups. Unknowingly, her feet made its way to the gym and her eyes stuck on him. His body was not a joke, and it was the first time she was seeing his half-naked body, a perfect body with those hot abs and sharp V-line. You're making me blush. He caught her off guard. She blinked her eyes due to embarrassment. I was just checking me out, right? He winked through the mirror. His pleasing always turned her cheeks, ears into a beetroot color. Not having the courage to meet his eyes, she ran away. Days were passing in a blur, and Taeyang was achieving his goal wholeheartedly. Currently, Wine was having an ice cream in the middle of the night. She was in the kitchen when a familiar person cleared his voice. I was craving for it. She shrugged her shoulders. Taeyang took out a water bottle from the fridge with a note. Now she talked to him comfortably, unlike before. Want some? Would love to. He sat on the beside stool and had ice cream while talking randomly. She was the one who was talking mostly, and he was listening carefully. A smile was on his face all the time. The way she giggled, sometimes widened her eyes or turned into the most serious girl. Suddenly, he placed ice cream on her nose tip. She pouted angrily, but with a mischievous smile, she put ice cream on his cheek as well. Not coming down, Taeyang did the same, and she did too before running away. "You little devil." She sticks out her tongue with an echoing laugh inside the living area, but he caught her eventually in his arms. His touch was gentle yet electrifying for her. "Is someone blushing? You are so bad." She hit his chest and ran away with her uneven heartbeats. Another week passed. Taeyang was nervous as hell since he was going to propose his first love. He arranged everything simple but elegant, just like she was. She accepted his date and appreciated his efforts. She always had some sort of things for him, but his obsessed behavior covered her those feelings with fear. "Will you marry me, Ryan?" He was on his knees and holding a rare diamond ring with hopes. "Will you want to hold this sweet but psycho's hand for the rest of your life?" He had both personality, but sweet one only reserved for his special girl. "I hope, forgiving my past, you would like to accept me in your present and future." His eyes moistened, so did Ryan. "Yes." He immediately slid the ring in her finger and kissed it gently. The very next moment, she was in the air in his arms with a big smile. Everyone's eyes on Ryan. She was walking with her father at the altar and looking down shyly. She was looking ethereal, and it was unable for Taeyang to look anywhere. "My bro is so into her." He was happy for his best friend come soulmate. "I'm sure you'll keep my princess happy." He handed wine to him, which he gladly accepted with assuring nods. Finally, she raised her eyelids. No surprise, he was looking charming, handsome, and hot at the same time. Soon, priest started the wedding ceremony. The loving couple held each other's hand and took vows with honesty. The priest finally announced them as a lawfully wedded couple. "Now you can keep." Taeyang's lips were already attached with his wife. Just like him, she was desperate, and they kissed with passion. The altar was filled with laughter, hootings, and round of applause. Flower petals were thrown to the most loving couple full of adoration. He did mistakes but worked hard to earn her trust and love. She accepted him with whole heart because no one could love her the way he did.